Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Letha, and this is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer of the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT, and you are one of my students over at my online TOEFL course, and you have paid for the additional service of having some of your independent and integrated writing practice tests corrected. You want me to go through and make all corrections. And that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start, and we'll just kind of move forward. So if I remember correctly, you took a integrated writing practice test, I think directly from the ETS, and you answered the question, then you sent it to me. So the lecture is discussing about the selfish behaviors of Murcott and provides several reasons for support. That's probably a little bit wordy. Now, what is Murcott exactly? Is this an animal? Right? I'm going to say it's an animal. So I'm going to say animals called the Murcott. And probably here, instead of saying providing several reasons, it's probably not really needed. You can get right to the reading. You might want to say, whereas the reading passage you might say contradicts the point made by lecture by explaining the altruistic behavior of animals. I think you mean these animals, right? Because if you don't use these, it sounds like you're talking about generally animals in general, but by saying these animals, okay, so what I'm doing is making your writing a little bit more concise. Okay, let's see what we have. The lecture is discussing don't even need that really. Just use simple present. Did you know this? In academic writing, Letha, the simple present tense is by far the most common verb tense used in academic writing. Think about that for a minute. And you know what's a close second? Simple past, believe it or not. So the lecture discusses about the selfish behaviors of animals called Murcott. Can we say Murcotts? Whereas the reading passage contradicts the points made in the lecture by explaining the altruistic behavior of these animals. So the lecture states, I'm going to say states about, states that, probably you could probably say talks about the egocentric eating habits of Murcotts. Now I didn't get to see this passage, so let me do some research for just a minute here. Hold on a second. I'm going to go into the internet. I want to find out Let me find out about this, what this animal is. Okay, it says under here the suricata is a small mammal belonging to the mongoose family Mercats. There, it does have S. And there, I see pictures of it. I've seen this animal before. Alright, I just needed to check it so I could understand a little bit more about the grammar. So we want to use the S there. The sentinel is the one who guards talks about the eating habits of Mercat. So the sentinel is the one who guards against predictors. This is why I think your writing will not score 24 just because of that one word. I think you want to use the word predator here. So the sentinel is the one who guards against the predators and protects the others. While allowing them to eat first until their stomachs are full. That would be the changes I'd make so far. It stands near the burrow. So when I'm going to say it sees when it sees a predator, it can escape fast. Just put however, the group is in great danger with the attention of the predator. No. It is in great danger of being attacked by the predator. Okay, I think we've almost got it here. The problem is when I'm looking at this in this reading or this lecture, it's talking more about what's called selfish or egocentric behaviors or eating habits. So you have to show through what you've just said that the sentinel is only worried about himself and not other people. So it stands near the burrow, so when it sees a predator, it can escape fast. Thus not worrying about the others in the group. However, the group is in great danger of being attacked by the predator. On the other hand, the reading passage claims that the sentinel is sacrificing his life for the group by standing guard without taking food, to me, you want to say it. The reason you want to say it is, you said sentinel singular, right? The sentinel is sacrificing. And I'd probably say here again, its life for the group by standing guard without taking food, and it is in great danger when when the predator, this is going to kill you right here, I'm telling you right now. Using predictor instead of predator, that kills your writing right there. That makes it difficult to understand what you're saying. Okay, so now let's take a look at what we've said so far. First, the lecture talks about the egocentric eating habits of Murkots. You said eating habits, but I don't think that works. You want to say egocentric or selfish eating habits of Murkots. Maybe. You have the sentinel as the one who guards against the predators and protects others while allowing them to eat first until their stomachs are full. It stands near the burrows, so when it sees a predator, it can escape fast, thus not worrying about the others in the group. I think it's important to say that. However, the group is in great danger of being attacked by the predator. On the other hand, it's a little bit wordy. How about, what if we said, conversely, the reading claims that the sentinel is sacrificing its life for the group by standing guard without taking food and in is great danger when the predator approaches them. I'm going to say it. Second, the lecture also claims I'm going to change this. This helps give the purpose of the lecture. You want to state what the purpose is. The lecture, in order to illustrate how Murkots can be egocentric, talks about the eating habits. Talks about, then we would say, their eating habits. Then we don't have to repeat that. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go to the second one. So the lecture also claims that when the sentinel makes the alarm sound, the group of Murkots scatter around or come together, and this would help the predictor and at the same time allow to scurry away How about, let's say here, attacker. We're using predator a lot, right? Okay, so the lecture also claims that when, I'm going to put a comma here, the lecture also claims that when the sentinel makes the alarm sound, the group of Murkots scatter around or come together. And this would help the predator pay attention to them and at the same time allow the sentinel to scurry from the attacker, thereby displaying yet another form of selfish behavior. claims that because the sentinel, okay, we have to do some changes here. Because the sentinel makes the alarm sound to the group, the group is able to escape. However, the sentinel has now drawn attention to itself. That's what you're trying to say here. Has now drawn attention to itself. Put itself in grave danger. Alright, let's keep looking here. So second, the lecture also claims that when the sentinel makes the alarm sound, the group of mercots scatter around or come together, and this would help the predator pay attention to them and at the same time allow the sentinel to scurry away from the attacker, thereby displaying yet another form of selfish behavior. However, the reading passage claims that because the sentinel makes the alarm sound to the group is able to escape. However, the sentinel has now drawn attention to itself and has put itself in grave danger. In other words, the sentinel has sacrificed itself potentially sacrificing itself for the betterment of the group. I guess that does it. That talks about how it's doing selfless or altruistic behaviors, not just selfish behaviors. Okay, now we get to our last paragraph. We have finally the lecture avers that this is a tough transition here. So at first you're saying that the lecture and the reading are discussing animals first, but then they transition to people, right? And they start talking about people or people in the sense that people who or who do not show what's called altruistic behaviors, right? You might say something the lecture behaviors this time to humans. This adverse, that's another reason you're going to score probably around 20-21 points, is I honestly don't know what you're trying to say there. So I'm going to get rid of that word. Okay, let's look at our topic sentence now. Finally, the lecturer brings up a new example of selfish behaviors, this time comparing the concept to humans. Then say, in the case of humans, when they donate their kidney to a stranger, they receive some appreciation and approval. You might put since, cause effect, or because. Since this is considered as valuable to some people, it's not, I'm going to say, a form of altruistic behavior. And contrary to this, that's a good word there, by the way, Letha. Nice. Good. That's a very good word to make the connections. And contrary to this, the reading passage states that donating maybe a kidney to a stranger, no S is needed there, is a selfless act and is considered as altruistic. Probably need to do a little bit more than what you did in your conclusion. You might say, in sum, usually we might say this, to sum up, behaviors by both animals and humans To sum up, in presenting examples of behaviors by both animals and humans, the lecture and the reading passage are in disagreement concerning whether or not these behaviors are altruistic. Altruistic. That's what I would do here. You don't have to have a huge conclusion with this type of writing, but I would do more than what you did. Yours, the lecture is a contradiction. No, it's even the grammar is not good. It is a contradict. No, is a contradiction to all the points, but that's not enough. So I'm going to go and say something like this. And remember, I'm trying not to repeat exactly what I said in the conclusion. To sum up, in presenting examples of behaviors by both animals and humans, the lecture and the reading passage are in disagreement concerning whether or not these behaviors are altruistic. And that pretty much states what's going on in this passage. You see what I'm saying? Now let's go through it one more time. I might have missed some things. Okay, the first one. The lecture discusses about the behaviors of animals called Merkats, whereas the reading passage contradicts the points made in the lecture by explaining the altruistic behaviors of these animals. First, the lecture, in order to illustrate how Merkats can be egocentric, talks about their eating habits. The sentinel is the one who guards against the predators and protects others while allowing them to eat first until their stomachs are full. It stands near the burrows, so when it sees a predator, it can escape fast, thus not worrying about the others in the group. However, the group is in great danger of being attacked by the predator. Conversely, the reading claims that the sentinel is sacrificing its life for the group by standing guard without taking food, and it is in great danger when the predator approaches it. How about this? Maybe sacrificing means that it will get killed no matter what, but you might say putting, how about this? Puts, this is going to work, puts its life at risk. Maybe that. I think that's going to work. So put its life at risk means it is at risk of potentially being killed by the predator, but not necessarily. Now, if I said it sacrifices its life, that means it does automatically get killed. So maybe that wasn't the best meaning. So the reading passage claims that the sentinel puts its life at risk for the group by standing guard without taking food, and it is in great danger when the predator approaches it. Second, the lecture also claims that when the sentinel makes the alarm sound, the group of Merkats scatter around or come together, and this would help the predator pay attention to them and at the same time allow the sentinel to scurry away from the attacker, thereby displaying yet another form of selfish behavior. However, the reading claims that because the sentinel makes the alarm sound to the group is able to escape. However, the sentinel has now drawn attention to itself and has put itself in grave danger. In other words, the sentinel is potentially sacrificing itself for the betterment of the group. Okay, next paragraph. Finally, the lecture brings up a new example of selfish behaviors, this time comparing the concept to humans. That you didn't do. That's your transition. You got to do stuff like this, Letha. I'm telling you, think about it. If you're driving down the road at an intersection, in the United States, whatever, think about it. We have traffic signals, we have stop signs and yield signs, we have signs to prepare the drivers when they need to change direction or roads. You see what I'm saying? You're changing a direction here when you get to this second to the last paragraph, and because you're changing directions from talking about animals to talking about humans, I think you need a transition. That's why I put what I did here. So it says, finally, the lecture brings up a new example of selfish behaviors, this time comparing the concept to humans. In the case of humans, when they donate their kidney to a stranger, they receive some appreciation and approval. Since this is considered as valuable to some people, it's not a form of altruistic behavior. In contrary to this, the reading states that donating a kidney to a stranger is a selfless act, and it is considered altruistic. To sum up, in presenting examples of behaviors by both animals and humans, the lecture and the reading passage are in disagreement concerning whether or not these behaviors are altruistic. And there it is. Now the next question is, how are you going to score and why? That's what we want to know, right? So if I go over to the integrated tasks and I take a look at those, I don't think you're going to get in the 5 range. I don't think you're getting in the 4 range. Here's why. It says, finally, your essay has more frequent or noticeable minor language errors, but these errors do not result in anything more than an occasional lapse of clarity or in connection of ideas. So I think that some of your word choice, using the word predictor instead of predator, I think that is a completely different word there. There were some problems in understanding the ideas. In fact, if I didn't read, I wasn't able to read the passage or listen to a lecture, but maybe that's a good thing, because it lets me know that you did have some problems communicating your ideas because of the word choice. Okay, so I'm going to put you down in the 3 range. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to give you a low 3 on this one. It says a low 3 at the very bottom communicates only unclear, global, even imprecise connections. Your response conveys an incomplete, inaccurate, or imprecise connection of the ideas in the passage. I'm going to say you can't really score, I think, in the 4 range because of some of those minor word choice errors. So I'm probably going to put you right now, I'm going to say between 21 and 22 out of 30, or 3.25 to 3.50 out of 5. And you saw some of the changes I made, and you have to be careful too. This could cause you some trouble. So this is the problem that we're having here, and the TOEFL IBT human raters, they will very likely disagree on your essay. On the one hand, it looks like you clearly understand what you have written about. You understand, I think, the reading passage. It looks like you understand the information in the lecture. It does not appear that you have left out any of those ideas, right? So in 2 it says your response contains language errors or expressions that make connections or meaning unclear at key junctures, such as your thesis statement or topic sentences. So you have some problems in the 2 range, but I don't think you've left anything out. So I don't know. I'll probably put you between 21 and 22 out of 30 for the reasons I just stated. So if we go back to the actual essay, you can kind of take a look at it now. You can see what I did, and you can see how you started, and you can see that I did make some changes, and it looks like you can probably do a little bit better job with your topic statements. You see what I'm saying? So you needed to do a little bit better job, announcing the key topics of those different paragraphs, and you also had some word choice problems in there. Okay? Anyway, thank you for submitting your practice test. I hope I've given you some good ideas to kind of get you going in the right direction. I would say one thing that you can probably work on right now over at my website is take a look at, I think under my writing section of the course, there is I think it's called writing, how to make your writing more coherent. You can probably do a little bit better in that area. I forgot what lesson it is, but again, it's called the TOEFL writing lesson, how to make your writing more coherent. And one of them, it talks about how you can use determiners. For example, words like this, that, these, and those, and then you use a noun right after that as a way of tying it back to some information that you've already mentioned. So anyway, I look forward to reading your next essay. Keep up the good work.